Do you agree with the principle that the discussion... Thank you. Just leave your cameras and go. Do you agree in principle that discussion about your topic that you have...
Where's the Christian brother go?
Get your question. Do you agree in principle? What you have here is a subject matter that you are willing to discuss.
Yes.
And this discussion should be based on...
Yeah, just
brother,
allow
please,
me
please,
to
please.
speak with your brother.
This discussion should be based upon knowledge rather than ignorance. We agree on that, right?
Well, it depends what you mean by knowledge rather than ignorance.
Okay.
Again, a very general
So,
question.
if we both discuss this subject that you have on your hand
Yes.
upon ignorance,
Yes.
do you think the discussion will be beneficial?
Well, in order to not be ignorant of the subject, we've got to understand the context. And the tafsir is what the Quran is talking about of the surah. Do you agree?
I misunderstood what you said. What I was asking you is this. If the discussion between both of us
Yes.
on the subject that you have here
Yes.
on your clipboard,
I wouldn't necessarily call it a
if-
subject as such. It's just something that when I was reading the Quran, I came across it.
yeah, whatever you've got there in your piece of paper, laminated, right?
Laminated piece of
Right,
paper.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, laminated.
If we were to discuss this upon ignorance,
Yes.
the discussion wouldn't be very beneficial. Do you agree?
I would like to have this conversation again with a Christian camera here because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Islamic cameras and I know exactly
What
to
happened
do.
to your Christian cameraman? Why did he flee?
No idea.
That's not my problem, is
What
it?
do you mean it's not your problem?
If you want to get
Can
a
you
Christian...
guarantee that nothing's going to be snipped out of these videos?
Look, ask those cameramen whatever you want to request of them. Go on.
And that request isn't necessarily going to be...
No, no. If you have issues of cameramen doing something, go and ask them.
Do you go and ask?
They're here, waiting for you to...
Could you, to them, because they're most likely not going to
Why
listen
am I
me
going
because
to?
I'm-
Why am I going to ask cameramen? They're just the ones recording Speaker's Corner.
Yes,
right?
they're recording because
Right. So you are still not sure
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
about the discussion should be proceeding
I
upon
know my
ignorance.
questions, and you're just going around here, there, ignorance,
Okay.
knowledge. Why can't we just have a discussion and we see where it goes?
Does
Why
the-
is it not as easy as that?
Does
with
the Quran say that if the Quran had been from any other than God, surely
you? In
they would
Surah 4,
find...
Ayah 82, that's exactly what it says.
What does it say?
It says, do not reflect in the Quran that it been from anyone other than Allah, there is certainly found in it many inconsistencies. I accept that, that's what Muslims believe.
Right.
Right.
So, are there any inconsistencies within the Quran?
According to who?
According to Muslims, no. According to you?
How do you define inconsistency? And how does this surah define inconsistency?
Yeah, sure. And ikhtilafan here in the Quran.
Is that what it is now?
The Quran is not in English. Do you agree?
I agree, but there's linguists who translate it into English. But I trust the linguist translation.
Which translation do you trust? Do you trust Palmer's translation or Arbery's?
Either.
Either? Are you sure? What if I find that between them there's a contradiction in what they
Are
say?
they both Qurans?
Translations.
Translations of the Quran. And do they both say two different things?
Sometimes they do.
Same message,
Sometimes they do.
same message,
No, sometimes they do.
separate messages, two Qurans, different messages.
Translations
Translations,
are
Of the Quran.
only approximations
right?
of the meaning of the Quran as
Yeah.
much as they're able to express in the languages they're translating,
Right.
and it demonstrates also the ability they have in translating the language they're translating from, Arabic.
Right.
Right. Not all translators have of the same capacity and capability.
Meaning that, okay, so the translators I trust are the ones that have had a certified degree in linguistics.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. So which one is that?
Which one is that?
Which translation is that?
Any translation which has a debatably good level of linguistical ability,
Fine.
that understands Arabic very well, that understands the other language very well,
Okay.
and that is able to translate
Okay.
between the two.
So the translation by Muhammad Sarwar,
Right? And who
Does
is
it
he?
put-
What has he done? Who is he?
I'm
Is he a doctor?
I'm asking you,
Right?
do you know whether he is fulfilling the criteria that
One,
you
I
have?
don't know who he is. Two, I don't know where he studied. And three, could you tell me a little bit about him?
Fair enough. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Very good.
So which translations have you looked at and you consider them to be acceptable?
So I went on to sunnah.com, which is an Islamic website where I got this hadith, where I got, which one is it?
We're
Sahih Muslim.
remember, we're talking about the Quran
And
translation,
from the Quran,
right?
And from the Quran, I went
So-
on to an Islamic source.
So which translations of the Quran do you think is acceptable?
Do what I think is acceptable. I don't care what's acceptable to me, what's acceptable to you. I'm not a Muslim. I don't go by the Quran,
So-
I go by my own scriptures.
So any translation of the Quran is acceptable to you?
What do you mean to me? I'm not a Muslim.
So what you have here, is that a translation of the Arabic?
That's a translation of the Arabic.
Right. Is that acceptable to you?
Is this acceptable to me?
Why?
Yes, it isn't acceptable to
No,
me.
why is it acceptable to
Why
you?
is it acceptable to me? It's acceptable to me because I went round to separate different Muslims, asked them to look this up on their devices to see if it matches exactly what they say on their own Qurans, and they say yes.
Now, I want to understand, you have a translation in
I
your
have a
hand,
translation of the Quran,
and you consider it to be acceptable.
and I consider it to be
Is
acceptable.
this translator
Yes.
someone who has a degree in the language?
Well, I trust Tafsir Ibn Abbas. I trust Ibn Abbas in order to get the Tafsir of this surah, yes.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Then what are you asking me?
I'm asking you,
Yes.
the translation that,
Yes.
that you are using,
Yes.
by who is it first of all?
Well, who is it first of all? No idea.
No idea. Okay, fair enough.
But
So
which
you-
is why I ask
Hang on,
every
look,
single
look.
Muslim.
Listen.
Sorry, which is why I ask every single Muslim to check this up on their Quran and their devices to
Sure.
see if it matches up.
Right.
And they will say themselves
Very
whether or
good.
not they accept it.
Remember what you said?
Yes.
Any translation
Yes.
has to be done by a linguist.
Yes, a linguist.
And now you have a translation
I
which
have a
is,
translation.
which is laminated,
Yes.
and you have no idea who translation is done by.
What do you mean I don't know who it's done by? Would you like me to search up who it's done by?
No, the translation that you have here
Translation I
laminated,
have here, yes.
I ask you again, who is it by?
Would you like me to search up who it's by?
No.
I've got the source on here.
You've already laminated it.
I've laminated it, yes.
Yeah, who is it by?
And if you ask me this question, I can go on here and
Go ahead,
tell you
go ahead,
exactly
yeah.
So you'd like to know the name of the linguist?
Because I want to use the one that is acceptable to you, not only to me.
To me, do all linguists have the same message in each surah?
Sorry?
Does every single linguist in each surah have the exact put down the exact same message as all the other Qurans? In the exact same
I don't
language?
understand your
So
question.
this is from Dr. Mustafa Qatar.
Dr. Mustafa Qatar, okay? Is that from the clear Quran?
This is from the Quran, yes.
Yeah, it's a very good translation.
Very good translation.
Right. So now, tell me,
This is the one that's also in Arabic. If you don't-
that's fine. So now tell me, in the Quran,
In the Quran,
using that translation that you are happy with, do you find inconsistencies within the
why
Quranic?
are you asking me the questions? Why can't I be asking you the questions?
Okay, ask me the question.
Okay. So, in Surah 6:14,
Let me get this out.
would you like me to read it out for you?
No, you
It
don't have
says,
to.
Shall I take for my protector any other than Allah, the maker of the heavens and the earth? And he is that feedeth but is not fed. Say nay. Listen to this bit very carefully. But I am commanded to be the first of those who bow down to Allah in Islam, to submission to Allah. First Muslim. Do you agree? According to Tafsir
So-
Ibn Abbas, that's exactly what it is.
So-
submission to Allah, bow down to Allah in submission.
So this surah
Yes,
you've just read,
yes.
does it contradict with anything else within the Quran?
Within the Quran, no.
Right.
That is not my
So,
claim.
so the Quran claims that if people reflected on the Quran deeply, with care, they would find that it doesn't have any contradictions or
I'm not
discrepancies.
disputing that the Quran has contradictions.
Right. So let's talk about something else then.
What would you like to discuss? Because I've got my questions here,
Uh,
and I would like to compare it.
So since this subject is not about contradictions of the Quran, which you agree the Quran is free from contradictions,
I never admitted that it's free from contradictions. I've just not yet found a contradiction.
Fair enough.
If I was to go on to
No,
Dr. David Wood's
that's fine.
Act 17 apologetics, I'm sure he would have gladly found a contradiction.
but you haven't found any. That's fine.
Personally, I haven't, because I've not actually looked for the contradiction.
No problem. No problem.
I've just looked
So
at this verse
until
and I found
then,
a contradiction with one of your, what you call authentic hadiths.
so hang on. The Quran doesn't say it is free from contradictions against the history, against this narration,
So
that
why is
narration.
it called sahih? Why is it called
Wait,
authentic if it's contradicting?
Firstly,
That's my question to you.
firstly, a Sahih hadith
Yes,
would not contradict Quran.
not.
It would not. That's the principle.
because it's not daif, right? It's not weak. It's
In
sahih,
principle, a Sahih hadith would not contradict the
authentic. In
Quran.
principle, as
Yes.
in what? Could you elaborate?
That's what we were discussing earlier. We need to understand the principles. Because a Sahih hadith would not in principle contradict the Quran. Because otherwise, you know, it is saying something which goes against the Quran.
So do you accept there may be something in the Sunnah, in the Hadith, which may contradict the Quran? That's
There
what-
may be many statements attributed to the Prophet
Yes,
in a number of collections
right.
which may go against the Quran.
Which may go against
And
the Quran.
if it does,
And if it does?
then we know that this cannot be Sahih.
So then it won't be Sahih.
Yeah.
But you believe that Sahih Muslim is definitely an authentic Hadith.
Firstly,
Definitely, 100%.
firstly,
Or are you following blindly your
Firstly.
ulama?
firstly, let's understand one thing. Collections of statements of the Prophet
Right.
is to understand what he said and what he did, right?
That's the Sunnah, yes, I understand that.
Right.
I'm not completely ignorant.
What is the prime or the most core message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his narrations?
It's really this core message. That Allah is one God.
Allah is one God, and
Belief in Allah, and that He's the final prophet. What is it? The Shahada.
the core message is Allah is one God.
Yeah, what is it? The belief in all the messengers, the six pillars of faith, right? Belief in Allah, belief in the angels, belief in the messengers, belief in the books, the Torah, the Injil,
Okay.
they're the six pillars of faith.
Right.
Very basic Islam.
Do you disagree with them?
Do I disagree in the point of view of a Muslim?
No. You, as a person.
Me, as what? Me as what? What's
As
the
a
question?
person, as a
Do I
person.
disagree with what?
Do you disagree with these teaching of Prophet Muhammad
Do I disagree?
sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
The teachings of- yes, I disagree with the teachings of Muhammad.
Can we
Well,
move away from here because the brother is speaking, so we can go to one side?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We usually go by telling our names, right?
Well, personally, I don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
You may not,
Look,
but
look, look.
personally, I don't.
I didn't say you're obliged to tell your name. I only asked if you don't want to give your name, no problem.
Yeah, no,
Either
not
way.
really disagree with that. I just asked
No.
what your name was, and you said it was Hashim
Mansur.
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 Apologies again.
No
I'm
problem, no problem. So,
asked. Thank you for the respect. I've had a couple of debates around here earlier on, and I did not get the same respect you're giving to me, so I do appreciate that.
no problem, no problem. I just hope the people who are discussing with you, they should really, get it more elevated into their character a bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
The enthusiasm, the character, exactly. I'm glad you've kind of understood the way that you give your dawah to people. Very good.
Okay,
I wish Christians could learn a thing or two from you.
thank you. Do you fundamentally agree with the teaching of Prophet Muhammad
No.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Okay, which
No.
ones in particular that you
Which
disagree?
ones don't I agree with?
Yeah.
Well, the teachings also being what he's done and that he didn't go against.
So when you say done, this is actions. But in terms
Actions,
of his
correct.
teachings, let's talk about the teachings and we can talk about the actions.
The actions, right.
What-
Do I agree with his teachings?
Yeah.
Do you mean the core teachings or all of his teachings?
No. We start with the core,
The core teachings.
and then we go into the
Okay, so
the branches.
okay, let's break it down. Do I believe in Allah? If Allah translate to does Allah include my God in your question?
Allah is the creator of the cosmos.
The cosmos. So in my view, it's a Trinitarian God. So yes, I do believe in the Trinitarian God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Do I believe in the angels? I believe in Angel Jibreel. I believe in all the angels. Yes. Do I believe in what's the other one? All the books? No. I don't believe in the Quran as my authentic source. I'm not obliged to follow the Quran. Do I believe in the Old Testament? Yes, but I'm not obliged to follow the Old Testament, and I don't eat shrimp, etc. I think you've heard this argument before. I believe Jesus completed, or shall I say fulfilled, the Old Covenant into the New Covenant. So yes, I accept the New Testament, I accept the Old Testament. I don't accept the Quran. I accept the angels, I accept gods.
Do you believe in hereafter?
I believe in the hereafter, so In your eyes, it's Jannah and Jahannam, heaven and
Heaven and hell. Do you believe in
So
heaven and hell?
I believe in heaven and hell, yes, according to my scriptures.
Okay. So when the Quran says God is one and only without any son or
We're not
children.
going into a Trinitarian debate, are we?
No. Core message of Islam. When it says there is no God worthy of worship except Allah,
Right?
and the Quran describes Allah is without a son,
Without a son.
without a father, without any progeny, without any lineage, without any parents or forefathers, whatever it might be. So this is what the Quran describes, and the Prophet explains this.
Yep. And you believe Isa, or shall I say Jesus Isa, is only a prophet and messenger of Allah. He is not God himself.
Yeah.
Us Christians, I think you've heard before, believes he's the full revelation and manifestation of the invisible Father. He's claimed many times that he was according to Christians. We're not getting into Trinitarian debate, but you said what you believe. I'm not going to say what I believe. Or
So the disagreement seems to be the issues which clashes with your belief.
which clashes in my beliefs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine. So when you go back to the religion of Abraham and Moses, for
And
example.
Moses and Musa.
Right, yeah.
Ibrahim and Musa.
Abraham and Musa, alayhi salam, peace be upon them, right? Alayhi salam. Do you believe their teaching about God is similar to yours or similar to the Muslims?
Yes, because Jesus did say before Abraham was, I am. So in other words, Jesus claiming to be God. Even, what's the question again, sorry?
Do you believe the teachings about God
teachings
by
about
the
God.
Prophet Abraham and Moses
Right?
is similar to what you believe as Christian or what Muslims believe in?
Definitely what I
teachings.
believe in.
Okay. So did you find a teaching within the teachings of Moses and Abraham where he describes God to be a Trinitarian God?
Oh, we're getting into the Trinity.
No, you don't have to
discussion.
go. No, you don't have to go to any argument for and against.
Is this just for the
It's si-
cameras?
It is simply saying, because when you say teachings about
The
God,
Trinity is the way you describe 3 in 1 and what the Christians believe. It doesn't specifically say Trinity in any of our books. We've heard this discussion
it doesn't
time
have
and
to
time again.
it doesn't have to specify the word Trinity, right?
It doesn't, right?
Yeah, conceptually.
Okay.
So, do you find Abraham and Moses upon them be peace?
So neither of them talk about the coming of Muhammad, and
No,
neither of
about
them
God, about God. Start with the concept of God. What are their understandings and teaching of God that they told their people to follow?
that God is one.
That's what Muslims say, God is one. So
You're
I
saying
want to
Abraham
know,
doesn't say
no, no,
that?
I want to know, does it agree with more with your understanding of God or the Muslim understanding of God?
So what you're trying to do is say that, because you believe in Abraham and Moses, and we believe in Abraham and Moses,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and make this claim that Abraham and Moses is closer to me. In other words, what you believe in what is wrong and what I believe is right. Is that what you're trying to prove?
What we need to understand is, look, the prophets before Jesus Christ
Yes.
and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
Yes.
they existed before them, right? In terms of when they came to the people.
Yes.
Moses and Abraham, those prophets.
Correct.
And they were commissioned by God to tell people who God is.
Absolutely.
And they were one of the great and mighty prophets of God.
Yes.
Right. We're just trying to understand from your perspective and the Islamic perspective, what was,
They
or
never
were
talked
there,
about Muhammad.
what were their teachings
talk about
about
the
God?
Shahada.
About God.
They didn't talk about the Shahada.
No,
They
what
didn't
were the
talk
teachings
Muhammad.
about God?
The teachings about God.
Yes. You said they believed and told people about one God.
Yes.
Right.
And Christians believe there's one God.
Sure. But the oneness of God in Christianity
Yes.
and God
Why are we
in...
always getting on the Trinitarian debate?
No.
Am I ever going to be able to ask you these questions
No.
like you
Remember-
interrupted me over there?
remember-
Or are we going to go around
remember,
the same things, the
The
same
hadith,
circle, the same
hadith,
entrapment,
the
as
hadith,
you do with everyone else?
the hadith of the Prophet or the
Yes.
statement of the Prophet
Yes.
centralizes.
Which hadith?
I'm going to the
You
core
said
hadith, core.
Including?
The core hadiths of the
Which
Prophet.
ones?
I'm about to tell you. The core hadiths are the ones which are fundamentals to one to accept to become a Muslim.
And Shias will
Yeah.
disagree. Oh, no, Shias will agree with you, but they take different hadiths as their core. of
I
being
don't
a
have
Muslim.
any Shia here to agree or disagree with them, so there's no point bringing Shia in here. It's unfair to bring Shia in when we don't have any Shia person to
Okay, but
defend
you're
their
both
views.
being Muslim. You're
Right.
saying as a Muslim you
So-
believe the core principles,
So
but you believe in
the
different core principles.
core things, teachings, one must believe
Yes.
to even call themselves, label themselves as a Muslim.
Yes.
Right. So this teaching, I am saying, doesn't contradict, cannot and should not and would not contradict the Quran.
Right.
Now, is this teaching in any way different
Which
from the
teaching?
teaching that God is one
Right.
and only, worthy of worship?
Yes.
Yep. And none else is worthy of worship.
Or that'll be shirk, right, in your religion?
Shirk is associating a partner with God.
Yeah, so more than one.
It's not more than one. You can associate.
searching a partner of
You
God,
can
you're saying there's
associate.
more than one God.
You can associate a tree with God and say, "I worship the tree as well." You
So
make
that's polytheism.
you make the tree as a partner to God,
Right,
but it doesn't make that tree to be God, right?
right,
And it's not God's son or daughter.
right.
So it's an association.
But Jesus
Anything.
says, Jesus says, honor me as you honor the Father. In other words, he's putting himself on the same level as God.
So
Because he is God.
So the idea of God and the concept of God,
Yes,
according to Abraham and Moses,
yes,
let's understand a bit more about them.
Right.
So go ahead. So you mentioned about one God,
I did.
and what else did they talk about this one God?
Do you mean what else to talk about this one God? Who? Abraham and Moses?
Yeah.
You tell me.
I mean, I can tell you that they don't say that God is in any way another God before him, another God after him.
Right.
And
the Alpha, the Bible clears this. Just could you explain your religion? I'm not going to explain my religion along with what you're saying is the standard. We believe Jesus, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the last. In other words, none after him and none before him.
Okay. So is there someone along with Jesus?
No.
So Jesus is the only God.
What do you mean the only God?
If you have Jesus, the Alpha and the Omega,
Yes.
remember.
Or is this going to be a Trinitarian debate?
No.
Just so I know how to.
No. Every time we want to understand the concept of God,
I understand the
you're just trying to somehow stop from going into a Trinitarian
I'm
debate.
not stopping anything.
Right.
I'm just asking.
We don't want to go into a Trinitarian debate if you don't want to.
You don't want to?
Right.
I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm just asking
right.
if you.
So I'm simply saying the concept of God.
Right.
If God is one,
Yes.
you can call him he's 3 in 1, 5 in 2, and 20 in million, whatever, right?
Right.
According to what God has said to his
Yes.
prophets.
Yes.
So according to what God has revealed to his prophet Moses and Abraham,
Yeah.
did he reveal that he is one person or more than one person?
They don't specifically have to say something in order for it to be true later on.
Of course, God has conveyed the message about his
Yes.
oneness because it's quite clear. When, like for example, in Isaiah,
Which is why I then got to look at prophecies in the Old
in
Testament.
Isaiah, it says like this: "Before me there was no God form;
Yes.
after me there will be no God form.
Yes.
I alone am God, and there is none else."
None else.
Right. This is a God that is described about being how many? One.
Yes.
Right.
One
So
God.
if someone says, "I alone am God, and there is
Yes.
none else,"
Yes.
who is this I within the understanding that you have?
What do you mean who is this I?
Yeah.
What do you mean who is this I?
Because you believe God is we, right? And us.
Who, we and us. There are three distinct personas in one divine essence. What is there not to understand? They do not share. They don't, it's not like 25% God here, 25% God here, or any other fraction. It's 100% God, 100% God, 100% God. They're all God, three in one. Not three gods, there's one God.
So if one of them said, "I alone
Yes.
am God, and
Three,
there's none
if
else,"
there's one of them. You can have three. Let me bring in an analogy.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're one human being. You're made up with a body, soul, and spirit. You're
Yeah.
still one human.
okay.
Even though you're one body, you've got a soul, obviously, and you've obviously got a spirit. And then you think about states of matter. This is another example. There's something called the triple point of the water. So in the triple point of water, there can be a solid, a liquid, and a gas at one time. Still they're still distinct states of matter, but they're three in one. It's, what are they? States of matter, distinct but one.
Okay.
Logically it makes sense, and mathematically you're three-dimensional. Mathematically it makes sense, scientifically it makes sense, and spiritually it makes sense. Three can be one. My understanding, the Trinitarian understanding, the Christian understanding is three can be one. If you've got a Dewey Quran, a Wash Quran, and a Hafs Quran, even though three different translations, it's still the Quran. Three can be one.
Sure. So when you have the Father saying, suppose the Father said, "I alone am God, and there is none else.
Yes.
Before me there was no one form, no God
Yes.
form. After me there's no God form.
Yes.
I alone am God, and there is none else."
Are we getting in another Trinitarian debate? We hear this all the time. It's the same
Um,
arguments.
so
Yahya makes the argument.
how do you understand-
Dawah makes the argument.
how do you-
Muhammad Ijab makes the argument.
how do you understand
They've
this?
been refuted many times.
How do you understand this statement in Isaiah?
In Isaiah,
Yeah. When he says, "I alone am God, and there is none else." Who is this I?
who's this I?
The languages uses I, rather
Yes.
than us.
Yes.
Who is it?
Well, I'll need to get the Bible verse up and have a look at it.
Okay.
I've come here with my questions and I've still not had any of my questions answered. We've gone straight to the Bible. As usual, with the Dawah team in this park. You do it with Bob, you do it with Kay, you do it with all the other Christians in the park. You always go straight to the Bible. I want to talk to you about the Quran and you've gone straight to the Bible. Why can't we ever have a decent conversation about the Quran in this park? Why have you always got to drift off about the Bible?
Okay, there's lots of different verses, so we
we
need to go back to the Quran, right?
Back to the Quran.
Okay, this is not the one I was saying, but in Isaiah there's another verse like this. I am the Lord and there's no other.
Okay, so
Apart
L-O-R-D, capital Lord, that means Yahweh.
No, apart from me, there is no God. Me. Who is this me?
Who's this me?
Now, how do you understand this me? When he says,
Okay, so
apart
you're
from
using
me,
the
there is no
NIV.
God. Okay,
I'm
you
the
can use which
And
one you
there
want
is
to know.
no other apart from me.
English
there is no
Standard
God.
Version,
I'll strengthen
besides
you,
me.
though you have not acknowledged me.
English Standard Version, besides me, there is no God. New American, besides me, there is no God. New King James, there is no God besides me.
Alright.
King James, there is none else. There is
See,
no God
all
besides.
translations say the exact same thing.
So who is this me?
Which means there's only one Bible.
So who is this me?
Refuted that our argument.
Who is this me?
Do you know who's this me?
When God is saying, no, God is the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit in your
God.
understanding.
That's God.
No. When he says me,
Yeah,
who is speaking here?
God.
God the who?
Does it mean God to who? There's only one God.
That's the
We've established that
Okay.
I believe in one God. You believe
Let
in one
me
God. You've asked me
just
who is this me, and I say it's God.
clarify me one
If I
thing.
believe in one God and I'm
Okay.
saying it's God, then it's one.
Can you
one
clarify just one simple thing for me? Does the Father speak? Does the Son speak? Does the Holy Spirit speak? And
God.
does
Trinitarian
wait,
debate
wait,
again.
please, please.
Aki, why are we always going to the Trinitarian
please,
debate?
please.
Why can't I answer my question?
Okay, last question and we'll go to the Quran. So the question is simple.
Right.
Who is speaking?
God.
Wait. Now I'm giving you something that you can tell me whether you agree with this or disagree with this. Either the Father is speaking, the Son is speaking, the Holy Spirit is speaking, or together as a Trinity they're speaking. Who's speaking?
God is speaking.
So when you say
I
God,
believe in one God.
No,
God
what-
is speaking.
listen, whenever God speaks, God is either the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Jesus is the full revelation,
So-
the full manifestation of God. Wherever Jesus says the Father is
So
saying
whenever-
God, He is God. God is saying it.
Please, brother, thank you. Whenever God speaks, either the Trinity itself speaks,
Yes, Jesus is saying it, but he's just going to go off in this Trinity debate. I'm saying,
Either-
which is why I then brought in this argument.
no, either the Trinity itself speaks, or the members of the
This
Trinity.
is not debunking the Christian faith. We believe there are three distinct personas.
I don't want to debunk anything.
You're not debunking
I'm
anything. Very
simply
good, but I've seen
trying
this part
to.
that many do try
I'm
to.
trying to see whether you understand that the concept of God Prophet Muhammad SAW brought, whether it is similar to what Abraham and Moses brought.
Why are we going
or
on that? Why aren't we going to the questions that you
Look.
interrupted me with over there when I was
This
speaking
is
to
going
one
to
of
be
your brothers?
this is going to be the only question, and then we're going to go to the
Then
Quran.
why can't you answer my
Okay.
question?
So
I asked first and foremost.
let's finish this question, missionary.
Why couldn't we finish this question?
No. Let's finish the question
Why
about.
couldn't we finish this question before?
As I said, you have loads of things to discuss, right?
One thing to discuss.
Okay. Go ahead, and then we'll come back to that then,
Let me
right?
come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we established first and foremost, in Surah 6:14 it says, "Say, shall I take for my protector any other than Allah, the maker of the heavens and the earth, and He is feedeth, but is not fed? Say, nay, but I am commanded to be the first of those who bow to Allah in Islam, submission to Allah, Muslim. And be not thou of the company of those who join God with Allah, polytheism." Now, Tafsir Ibn Abbas clearly makes it clear through the context the person who's speaking is Muhammad, and he's talking about being commanded by Allah that he was the first Muslim, and not to be of the polytheists. He was saying this to the Ummah, the community at Mecca at the time, right? And it does say among those who are among the Ummah, the community at the time. Now we look at Sahih Muslim 2659. You accept this as an authentic hadith. It says, "The mother of every person gives him birth according to his true nature. It is subsequently his parents who make him a Jew or a Christian, two different religions, two different faiths, two different gods according to you. And had his parents been Muslim, he would have also remained a Muslim, meaning before they went off to Christianity or Islam, they were Muslims. Now the question to you is, Muhammad claimed to be the first Muslim in Mecca at the time in the Quran, but the hadith is saying everyone is born a Muslim. at all times, meaning that Muhammad cannot have been the first Muslim in Mecca if there were Muslims or submission to Allah before him. So my question to you is, do we trust the Quran or what you see as being an authentic hadith?
Okay. So the hadith that you read from here, what is it trying to say?
What is it trying to say?
I need to understand. I need to understand what you understand from it. What is it trying to say?
Explain the context. I explain the context to you. He's talking about fitra.
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 Okay.
Everyone's born a Muslim according to you.
Does it say according to everyone born a Muslim, or that
So
everyone
you
born
don't believe that everyone's born a Muslim?
No, no.
You don't believe everyone's born a Muslim?
I haven't answered anything. I'm
No,
simply
but that's
saying.
my question. Don't you believe
But
everyone's born a
for
Muslim?
me to answer,
Yes.
is what you are quoting here. I need to understand what you're saying. Does this hadith say everyone is born in a fitra, or does it say everyone is born as a Muslim?
It says that his parents were Muslim, he had also remained a Muslim.
No. How is everyone born in the fitra or in the Islamic disposition?
What do you mean? Islamic disposition.
What is the fitra according to the hadith?
According to the hadith, according to the hadith, the fitra is everyone being born a Muslim.
No, no. What
Is
is
that pure?
What is the fitra?
The fitra.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
precisely. What is the fitra?
What do you mean, what is the fitra? What do you mean, what is the fitra? You asked me the question.
So you don't know? I can tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fitra is the natural, innate disposition
Yep.
to worship one God and accept one God.
Yeah,
Okay? That's the innate natural disposition.
fair enough.
That's the fitra. Everyone is born with that.
Everyone's born with submitting to Allah.
Everyone is born with that natural, innate
So
disposition.
they're not. So they're born a Muslim. It says here, that, what is it? It is subsequently his parents who make him a Jew or a Christian. Had his parents been a Muslim, he would also remained a Muslim.
Okay. I need to read the Arabic of this to see how this is translated, because
Would you like
I
to get it
know.
up on your phone? I can tell you the verse.
No, why don't you bring it up on your phone?
On my phone?
Yeah.
Sunnah.com.
Okay. And where's the hadith? This is the.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, let's read it.
Would you like to read out in Arabic?
Okay, here. حدثنا قتيبة بن سعيد حدثنا عبد العزيز يعني الدراوردي عن العلاء عن أبيه عن أبي هريرة أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: كل إنسان تلده أمه على الفطرة وأبواه بعد يهودانه وينصرانه ويمجسانه، فإن كان مسلمين فمسلم. كل إنسان تلده أمه يلكظه الشيطان في حضنيه إلا مريم وابنها. Okay?
Yep.
So here, look. So as it says, these are the people who narrated this.
Yep.
And Prophet ﷺ said,
Yep.
every human being,
Yep.
yeah, taliduhu mother gave birth, al-fitra, in this natural disposition. And the parents then, they make them Jewish or Christian or Majusi. فَإِنْ كَانَ مُسْلِمَيْنِ, if the parents were Muslim,
Muslim. Yep.
then the child remains a Muslim.
Remains a Muslim.
No. Because the parents are identifying the child to be a Muslim. That they call them my son
As in what
or
it
my
said,
son.
there's a definition of Muslim.
Listen.
And the definition of Muslim is submission to Allah.
Listen.
They
This
would
is-
have also remained
this is-
submitting to Allah.
When a child
Simple.
is identified in a Christian family,
Yes.
they don't say this child is a Muslim. Do they identify as a Muslim?
What do you mean to identify as a Muslim? We don't believe as Christians that we're
when
born
a
Christians.
Jewish person, family, mom and dad, has a child, do they identify that child to them and their family and the community, that child is a Muslim?
So could you read the last part again? It says they would have also remained a Muslim. It doesn't say the parents should have called them a Muslim.
Because
It doesn't matter what the parents call them, it's what they are.
It's all about identifying who they are.
It doesn't say that.
Look, if
It's
there are
talking about
others,
what they are.
no, if their parents are Muslim,
Yes.
then they will call and label
It
the
doesn't say
child.
that they'll be called that.
That's what the hadith, in my understanding, indicates.
But that's not what I understand. So what do we do?
So very good. When we have a misunderstanding or difference in understanding,
Yes.
you should go to a commentary of this hadith
The commentary of the hadith.
Yeah.
By who? Who makes the commentary?
by hadith scholars.
Hadith scholars.
Yeah.
But scholars have different opinions depending on which scholar you follow. What do you mean? No?
This is
Different scholars have
what I'm
different opinions.
saying
But-
is simple.
Akhi,
Now take your
no,
phone.
Okay, listen to me, please, just very quickly.
This hadith is narrated
Not,
in.
I don't trust the scholars. Do you know why? Because not all Sunni Muslims believe in what Yasir Qadi says.
You can
Because a
believe
lot
or
of people
trust.
condemn Yasir Qadi. He
that
said
is-
different things to what other
That's
Sunni
up
Muslims say.
to you to trust or not, right?
Yeah, so Muslims believe
Right.
different things.
So when we have a hadith in Sahih Muslim, we have commentary on Sahih Muslim.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done so, I can only suggest that you do. Go and read the commentary and see whether the commentary agrees with the understanding that I have or you have.
So basically, at this point we are where we are right now, you could be right or I could be right. But we can't both
No,
be right. There's one objective
At
truth,
this
right?
point, there's a differences in our understanding of this hadith.
In our understanding. Because we're
Correct.
human beings, we have different understandings. We
Right.
interpret things differently.
So it is only beneficial that you go to
But
a
as a
commentary.
Muslim doing dawah, you can't tell me specifically what this actually means.
Look,
You can't convince me on
Look,
the spot
look.
now what this means.
I can tell you, but you would disagree like you've done, right?
It doesn't say that.
And when you say it doesn't say that, you're just going by the reason why. This is another principle I'm establishing here with you, okay? Whenever a text is in dispute or in question, what one should go to the original text in the original language.
So you're saying that Allah can only communicate to the people in Arabic. He says you must go to the original language.
Listen.
Allah can only communicate to the people in Arabic.
If there is a dispute over a text,
But he must go to the original language, meaning that Allah
You
can only
should-
communicate to you perfectly in Arabic.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Now you didn't understand what I'm saying. Did you hear that? I don't understand what you're saying.
no, what I'm
It
saying is,
disputes what you've told everyone in the past.
I'm
Akhi,
misunderstanding.
please, would you like me to
I
repeat
am
myself
I am
again? Or don't
misunderstanding.
you wanna
I am
hear it?
misunderstanding one thing.
Because
Suppose-
Allah can
suppose-
only speak to you in Arabic perfectly.
Suppose there is a text in the Bible.
So Allah can only
If
speak
I-
to you perfectly
if I-
in Arabic and any other language.
If I explain that to you, maybe you can help me understand it, right?
Because Allah can only speak to you in
Suppose-
Arabic and any other language.
suppose-
Perfectly.
Suppose there is a.
Perfectly.
Um,
He can only speak to you in Arabic and any other
Can I-
language perfectly.
If I make my point, maybe you can help me understand it, right?
Can he or can he not?
I'm trying to say something,
Right.
and in return you can help me understand it, right?
Help you understand the
Fine.
hadith?
Help me understand the issue here.
The issue here is
Yeah.
that you want to go away from the fact
see-
that Allah can only communicate to you in Arabic.
You see, we are
Because
talking
Allah can
about
only communicate to you in
we are
Arabic.
talking
And my
about
God can communicate to all of us in different languages.
we are talking about, do you agree, a dispute
Yeah.
in understanding a particular text.
Right.
That text could be a text which is legal,
It can be.
it could be medical,
Right.
it could be theological, whatever, right?
But this is this is
Do you
this
agree?
is the hadith in a religion.
Right. So do you agree that when there is a dispute in such a text,
The Quran
One
says I
should-
perfected this religion for you and completed your blessings upon you.
do you agree?
What is your understanding of that verse?
Do you agree one should?
That has perfected and completed in what language?
Look,
Arabic.
look, we can go to that. But
But you
as
don't
you
want
can
to
see,
though.
no, as you can see, I have some deficiency in understanding the issue, right?
So yeah, so
Not
what,
you.
What is,
I have a
fair enough.
deficiency.
So what does the Quran say?
So
Speak
I'm
to the people of the book.
trying to get some help
Use
from
the
you.
Christians, right?
I'm trying to get some help from you, so you can help me understand the issue, right? Right. So you know there are Jehovah's Witness Christians.
The
They
heretics. Heretics.
use John 1:1 and say it doesn't mean Jesus
They've
is.
got a different Bible. We can trace where the Bible was changed.
Listen,
They're heretics. According to
Jehovah's
most Christians,
Witnesses.
the heretics, yeah,
They use John 1:1
Yeah.
from the Greek.
they distort the Bible.
No, it's the same Greek language.
Same Greek language, but different words. They distort the Bible. They are heretics.
No, the
Mansur,
the
they
word-
distort the Bible.
Maybe they do, but I'm saying
I don't want to speak for
I'm
Jehovah's
saying
Witnesses.
John
I don't want
1:1.
to slander the Jehovah's Witnesses.
John-
I'm telling you they are heretics.
John 1.
They are heretics. They changed the
That's-
writings. They changed the
Look,
writings.
look.
You can trace where they were changed.
If you want to
are
consider them to heretics, you're entitled to it.
Yes.
But I'm simply
Because they've
saying,
changed the words. What else can we say?
have they
if you change
changed-
the word of God, they are heretics.
have
That's
they
heresy.
changed the Greek text of John 1:1? Or do they use the same Greek text that you use?
I don't know. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
I just know
As
what they've
far
done in
as,
the
as
past.
far as I know, they use the same Greek text.
Do they?
Yes. So now you realize the point that I'm trying to understand, right? Remember, I'm trying to understand, not you.
Yeah.
Greek, same text, is understood differently by Trinitarians and the Jehovah's Witness.
But we don't need to go to another language in order to understand it.
No, it
Like
is-
Muslims do, because you're
What
you can
I am
communicate through
saying,
Arabic.
would
Use
you
an Arabic God.
would you agree?
Arabization.
Would you agree
You phrase an
that?
Arab city,
Would you
you've got
agree?
an Arabic name.
Listen. Would you agree? When there is a dispute in understanding a text, firstly we have to go to the original.
Right.
We have no problem
According
with
to
that.
you, because your God can only communicate to you in Arabic.
Okay. Do you know there's one Bible translation in which Jesus says, "I am the living God"?
Which translation was this?
There is one translation.
Can you tell me the translation?
I can't remember. I can bring it
can't
up.
remember,
No,
can
no, no,
you-
no, no, no. I've just recently read. Okay.
That's interesting. It's new knowledge for me.
Right. It
Which-
says
which,
that.
Which translation?
It's not something
I
that
don't
is
know.
common.
Which translation?
It's not a common
It's
translation.
controversial. It's a controversial subject. Can you please lay it
Look,
out
look,
to
look,
me?
look.
I'm a Christian. I would like to know.
I am saying
Is it because you don't know? Can you please tell me the translation?
I can bring
You've
this
made
up.
a claim. Please give me the
Listen,
translation.
I can-
Aki, give me the translation.
Okay.
Thank you. Because it's new knowledge for me. I'd rather know
What
more
I'm
about my own.
trying to say is this particular translation doesn't go with other translations where Jesus doesn't say I'm the living God. So I'm saying when a translation says Jesus says I'm the
You've
living
got to
God,
know when it was written and what has been changed.
listen,
We can trace when it was changed. You
That-
can't with Arabic. You've got
this-
to go to a different
this
language. That is
translation-
the difference. You can't keep comparing.
this
I see
translation,
what you're doing, Mansur.
I am saying this
I
translation,
can see what you're saying. I can see what you're doing.
this translation is in favor of you or favor of me?
What do you mean is it in favour of you?
Whose
and me?
favor is it?
Which translation?
That-
I don't know what translation you're talking
A
about. You've not
particular
shown me.
translation that I'm about to
Show
bring.
me.
Look, I'm about to
Show
bring.
me the translation.
I'm about to bring it up.
Just get up.
Patience.
I'm patient.
Is this
I have
trans-
sabr. Don't worry. Can you
is this translation in favor of you or favor of
I
me?
don't know. I've not heard the translation.
What did I say the translation says?
I want to
It
know.
says-
I can't take your word for it. Unless you can show me, I can't believe it.
Okay, you know what? Let's find it, okay?
Let's find it. Well done, brother. You're getting somewhere.
I am the living God, right?
Tell me the translation.
This is
and
what
tell me when
Jesus
it was
says.
written. Because I can guarantee there are translations before that which has maintained what's dated back to the early manuscripts. I don't believe it. I believe Jehovah's Witnesses are heretics.
Oh, there's a translate. Thank you. Walking Bible. It's like God sends
Can you please
divine
get up?
help.
Please get up.
Barakallah fi. You know, there's a translation, Ethiopic or Aramaic or something, which says, "I am the living God." There's a translation they use in a verse that you use that he says, "I am the living God." Jesus is saying, "I am the living God," in that particular translation.
Yeah, Matthew.
Okay. Okay. He's going to find this verse.
It's Aramaic.
It's an Aramaic one, correct? It's an Aramaic translation.
Aramaic one.
Aramaic. They
Do you know what
translated.
language the Bible was written in?
Which part of the Bible?
What are you talking about?
Matthew.
Are you talking about Matthew?
It's
I don't know what one you're talking about, which is why I'm asking you to bring it up.
this one,
So it's Matthew 14:27 in the Aramaic Bible.
right?
Okay. They've translated to say Jesus is saying, "I am the living God." So this is the reference, Matthew 14:27 in the Aramaic translation to English.
The Aramaic translation.
Yeah. They're translating from the Aramaic to English, or they're translating in
The Bible
Aramaic.
wasn't written in Aramaic.
It's not an accurate translation.
We know it's not. So the point I was trying to make
The
is,
Bible was not written in Aramaic. That's just what Jesus spoke.
so the point I was trying to make is when there is a translation and it says something and there's a dispute, did Jesus say I'm the living God or not? We should go to
You're putting the standard of the hadith to the Bible. That is not what we
text. Any text in dispute,
What do you mean, any text?
any text, like the hadith
The hadith?
or the Quran or the Bible, we should go to the original language, right? It's written
The
in.
original language is not Aramaic.
Whatever that language is.
But you're talking about an Aramaic translation. The original language is not Aramaic. And I'm not a Jehovah's Witness.
So they should go to the original language that it's
That's
written
why I
in.
consider them as heretics, because what they're saying is wrong.
Right. So you agree then? We should go
they're not
to.
Christians.
We should go. This is not a Jehovah's Witness translation, by the way.
You said it was Jehovah's Witnesses before this.
Not this one.
Not this one.
I was
So you're
talking
talking about
to.
something different.
I was saying John 1:1.
John 1:1.
Jehovah's Witnesses have a different understanding
Heretics, yeah.
than yours. Right. Okay. So we in principle
Can you
agree.
get that up? Can you get John 1:1 up from the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible? I've not seen it.
You can do that yourself.
What do you mean I can do it myself? Can you show me now? You've made the claim, show me.
Nazem, John 1:1 in the Jehovah's Witness
I'm not a
translation.
Jehovah's Witness and it dates back
A word is in
after
No.
the
God.
The original Greek
I'm not a
that they use. Do they use a different Greek?
No, it's the same Greek.
It's the same Greek. That's my point. So, not only that we have to go to the original language when there's a dispute, the point I'm alluding to from this example is even the same text may have differences of.
Then why is it all the other Christians managed to get the words right other than the heretics?
When
Exactly.
there is a dispute, you have to now then go to commentaries
If
to
they're
see.
distorting the language,
They didn't
just
distort the
changing
language.
the words.
They did not in that verse.
they're not in that word, in that verse.
They did not.
Because there's no
So what's the
definite
difference?
article, is it?
So what are you trying to compare?
It's the same thing, but a different understanding.
The understanding's
Yeah.
different.
So what's the point I was trying to make? That you helped me to understand.
To how, what?
You've helped me to understand something. Thank you for that. So what was the
About the commentary.
No, what was the point that I was trying to make, which you did help me to understand?
Mean what point?
Yeah.
What point did I say?
You just helped
I
me
made
for that.
loads of points.
On that point about
The fact that
when
the
there's,
Bible's not written in Aramaic.
when there's a dispute in a text, that we should go to not only the original, but also once we have the original, we have to understand the original from the scholarly works.
Well, it works.
Right.
But we're in
So-
agreement with our scholars.
So then you go
Or
to
not.
the scholarly works.
You have different hadiths, we have the same Bible. It's just that
Then
this
you have-
heretic
then-
Bible is completely different to all of ours.
Okay. So when Abraham believed in one God,
When are we gonna get onto this?
but we have come to a stalemate here because
Do you want some ancho?
I'm fine, thank you. When we are discussing this hadith
This hadith?
about when the child is with a Muslim parent
Yes.
and they remains a Muslim or they are identified as a Muslim,
Absolutely.
and you are saying your understanding
There's no identity.
is
It's a fact. There's nothing talking about identification. It's saying what they were previously, and what they were previously were Muslims. That's exactly what it's saying.
yeah. So I am saying next step for you is to go into a commentary
A commentary.
because you are not taking my explanations.